God says, I want what you have left over, because what you have left over is enough for me to transform not just your world, not just you, but the world. If I'm still in this earth, God says there's glory connected to your name. So God, show me where the glory is. Show me where you're moving. Show me how you're speaking in this season. Show me, show me, show me. Self-preservation is a vehicle, but it is not the destination. So I practice preserving myself because I know that God has work for me to do. But I don't make my mission protecting myself, because if I make my mission protecting myself, then I will miss out on the very reason that I was created. And so I have to learn to balance the reality that I do need to preserve myself, and I do need to move with wisdom, and I do need to have boundaries, but I also need to know when none of that matters, because it's time for me to step into something that requires vulnerability. It's time for me to step into something that I've never seen before, and I can't do it and be comfortable at the same time. So self, get ready to get uncomfortable, because we're moving into mission mode. You got to know the difference between preservation mode and mission mode. And I felt like God told me that there were just one or two people in this room who were about to move from preservation mode and into mission mode, that they did what they had to do to preserve themselves. They did what they had to do to preserve their peace. They did what they had to do to preserve their mind, but they've been in preservation mode for so long that they feel like God is trying to move them somewhere, but they don't know how to let them go. And I'm telling you, the only way that you move into mission mode is when you say, God, I've got enough of me. Now I'm ready for you. God, I recognize that there's still something left, but I don't want to be down to crumbs anymore. I want to know what you can do with leftovers. If you don't believe that you serve a God who can do something with leftovers, baby, you in the right church, because the potter's house is all about broken leftovers that the potter knew how to put back together. If I had about 5 saints in this place, we would take a minute and tear the roof off this place, because we know that we serve a God of leftovers. You're looking at me in overflow, but you didn't know that overflow started with leftovers. You're jealous of what God is doing now, but if you could have seen the overdraft, if you could have seen when I lost my mind, if you could have seen when I wanted to get out of here, if you could have seen when I thought I had no worth, you're celebrating now. But baby, when I tell you that now couldn't have happened unless then. You can protect the leftovers, or you can offer the leftovers as a sacrifice. Moses had to be willing to take what was left over, even though he didn't think it was enough. Even though he wasn't sure that it could be powerful, God says, I want what you have left over, because what you have left over is enough for me to transform not just your world, not just you, but the world. Bishop was talking, and he said that there were some world changers in the church. See, sometimes we don't want to set ourselves up for failure by saying things like, I'm a world changer, because you think you're insignificant in the overall plot and plan of the world. But if you knew how connected your world was to everything else God wants to do in the world, you would recognize that you don't have to have an international platform to be a world changer. All you have to do is have a mission that says something in my world is going to change, because I've gone through hell and back, and I'm not going to leave hell waiting here for my children. Something's got to change. I'm going to change the way we communicate. I'm going to change the way we see love. I'm going to change the way we build businesses. I'm going to change the way we engage with one another. I'm going to change the way we worship. I'm going to raise up a new standard. I don't know about what happened before me, but one thing I know is when God says my time is up, I'm going to leave a new standard so that everyone who's connected to me can come up a little higher, that's all I want to do. If breaking a chain means you came up a little higher, that's all that matters to me. I may not be the first millionaire, I may not be the first billionaire, but I'm going to leave a rope because I'm going to be the first thousandaire. I'm going to be the first hundredaire. I'm going to kick something off in my family that ain't never been kicked off again. I'm going to kick something off from my generation that has never been kicked off before, because my Creator created me to create something different. I am not created to do what has already been done. I'm created to break something. I'm created to change something. I'm created to establish something. I'm created to take some territory. I'm on a mission. The mission requires that I come out of this trance that makes me keep talking myself out of the very thing that I'm called to. I gotta come out of the trance where I feel like protecting me is the ultimate goal, because if I am protecting me, I am telling God that I don't trust you to protect me. I know you called me to it, but I don't trust you to protect me in it. It takes a certain kind of vulnerability to say, I'm going to go even if I feel uncovered, because I recognize that the call came with protection. The call came with protection. Called me to this marriage, called me to this business. But what if I fail? What if they break my heart? If I called you to it, I'm gonna protect you through it. So what if they break your heart? I know how to put it together. So what if you fail? I know how to pick up the broken pieces. So what if it doesn't work out? I know how to make all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according. Jesus masters the ability to go from preservation mode to mission mode. He knew, if you follow in the Gospels, his ministry, there were moments where he would perform a miracle and tell a leper, don't tell anyone, because right now I still have to preserve myself. He would perform ministry and move to the next town immediately, because I gotta preserve myself. But when we see Jesus in the garden, he's moving from preservation mode into mission mode. So when he's in the garden, we hear him say, if it be your will, if you could pass this cup from me. He's been in preservation mode so long that when it's time to move into mission mode, he's got to see God. Because I got to let myself go so that you can perform the work that you want to do through me. And God, I can't let myself go unless you teach me how to unclench my plans and unclench my ways and unclench the way I thought it should be and unclench the love that I have for the very thing that's hurting me and unclench the grasp that I have on what I thought my future should look like. I got to move out of self-preservation mode, and I'm afraid and I'm scared, but nevertheless, not my will be done. We see him in the garden, and he's praying until blood and sweat falls from his head. Because the hardest thing you will ever have to do is let you go. But restoration depended on Jesus coming to this moment. I don't know who you are in this room, but you're hungry for restoration. Not the kind of restoration that you get because you want to go back in time. Oh, help me, God. Let me say it the way God gave it to me. Jesus is so committed to God's mission in the earth that he has to be willing to let himself go. So what is God's mission in the earth? God's mission in the earth is to reconnect creation with Creator. Yeah, that's all right, we're going somewhere. So when God creates man and woman in the garden, he has connection with man and woman. We don't have to wonder where God is. He's just a cry away. We don't have to wonder if his hand is on us. We don't have to wonder if he's going to provide because we were already connected in the garden. And so when Adam and Eve eat from the fruit in Genesis 3, there is separation that is created. So God is on a mission to reconnect with his creation so that his creation can understand the fullness of what they received when they were created. Because what happened in the garden skewed our perspective and our perception on who we are in the earth. We don't trust ourselves. We don't trust our creativity. We don't trust that we can say no. We doubt ourselves. We worry. We're in depression. We have shame and addiction because of what happened in the garden. But God says, regardless of what happened in the garden, if I could just connect with them again, I could still bring them to a place of restoration. You want God to restore what you lost. God says, I want to restore what you never even knew you had. I want to restore the confidence you had never even knew you had. You have gifts and talents that you never even knew existed. But because there was separation, you don't even know everything I put in you. But I hear God saying, it's still in you to win. It's still in you to create. It's still in you to have dominion. It's still in you to subdue. It's still in you to tread on serpents. It's still in you to walk through hell and not get burned. It's still in you to talk through a serpent and not lose your head. It's still in you. Jesus tells his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life will lose it. And whosoever will lose it for my sake. So you better stop losing your life for everybody else's sake. I know it's cute to people please. I know it's cute to be everything to everybody. But it's not just about losing your life. It's about losing your life for his sake. It's a lot of life draining happening in this world. A lot of life draining happening in these relationships. A lot of life draining is taking place. And God says, I'm nowhere in that. You keep asking me to get in it, but I was never in it. I'm asking you to start losing your life for my sake, because I can guarantee if you lose it for my sake, I can restore it. I hear God saying, stop asking the very person who robbed you to also restore you. If you would trust me with your life, I can give you more than you gave me. That's why I give my offering. That's why I sow my seed, because there's nothing I can give to the kingdom that could even compare to what he'll give to me. Takes a bold move to say, I'm going to deny myself. I'm going to deny those insecurities. I'm going to deny that fear of failure. I'm going to deny that voice that says I'm too old. I'm going to deny that voice that says I'm too young. I'm going to deny that voice that says I failed too many times. I'm going to deny myself and say, God, if this is where you're sending me, if this is where you need me, I'm going to have to take my cross with me, because I got some things to kill along the way, but I'm going. Isn't it amazing that Jesus says you got to take that cross and get on the cross right now? You just got to be willing to take a cross with you, because when you get to where I'm calling you, there's a version of you that may have to die in order so that the real version of you can live. So don't let God open a door for you that you don't take your cross with you into, because when you cross that threshold, every trick, plan, and plot of the enemy is going to haunt you and taunt you, but that's okay because I got my cross with me. And because he defeated death on the cross, it doesn't matter what the enemy says. I got a cross with me that reminds me that resurrecting power is mine, that the joy of the Lord is going to be my salvation. I got evidence. God's got a mission. God's got a mission for this generation. He's got a mission for your family. God's got a mission in the earth. And the mission requires your participation, not your preservation. Jesus, on the cross at 33, it wasn't about preservation. It was about full participation. Israel keeps getting stuck between preservation and restoration. If you read the Old Testament and into the New Testament, you'll see that Israel makes a commitment that they're going to follow God because God came through. So no matter where you take me, I'm going to follow you. And do you know, they were not out of Egypt for very long before self-preservation kicked back in. And they start wanting to go back to the very place where they were enslaved, because they'd rather have a master they know than a master who requires the unknown. That's the tricky thing about self-preservation. Is sometimes you will settle for a lesser master because you know it, than to dare to trust the master in the unknown. And this is Israel's problem. This is the problem with the Pharisees and the Sadducees. They are committed to preservation, so they miss when God is creating moments for restoration. See, I think in order to fully understand this, we have to let go of the idea that restoration is when God gives me back what I lost. Restoration is when God takes you back and gives you what generations lost. When God gives you what they lost hundreds and hundreds of years ago. When my father is building these communities, I know him well enough to know that he's not even thinking about a house that he lost. He's thinking about a house his ancestors were never even allowed to buy. Because restoration is not just about getting back what the enemy stole from you. I'm going to give you what he stole from your grandmother. I'm going to give you what he stole from your great, oh. Woo! 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 I'm sorry, that did something in my spirit, because I got generational brokenness and generational loss, and my mother and grandmother had to say goodbye before they could see that they've never seen the righteous forsaken. I believe that somebody's looking from heaven, and while you think you got a long way to go, they're thanking God that you went further than they ever thought possible. God gave you what I lost. God bless my great grandchildren with everything the enemy stole from me. Woo. I'm sorry, I feel a wind coming. I'm sorry, I feel like the gates of hell are about to be opened. And that there's going to be one or two of us who leave this place more determined than we were before to go into the enemy's camp. I'm sorry, y'all know I am a little bit of a church girl, but when I was growing up, they used to sing a song about going into the enemy's camp and taking back what he stole from me. You can't do that and worry about yourself. Baby, I'm worried about my stuff. I'm worried about my blessings. I'm worried about my peace. Hell, if you got my peace, you gonna have to give it back to me. And I'm not gonna wait for you to hand it over. I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and run up on the devil that's been running up on me. Yeah. You stole it, but you can't keep it. You stole it, but you can't have it. The divorce tried to break it, but you can't have me. You planted seeds, and you thought the enemy snatched them. But God says, I keep perfect records. I know everything you planted. I know what your daddy planted. I know what your grandmother planted. No wonder we're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, because I want to witness the moment you come into yourself and remind hell that you slayed me, but I stayed in position because I trust that the slaying is working for my good. Yeah, just like that, just like that, just like that, a bold move to go into the enemy's camp, just like that, just like that. I hear God saying that it's time for you to get bold again. I hear God saying that the wicked hides when no one is chasing, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. If I could just hear somebody roar. Did you hear the demons tremble? Did you hear hell get nervous? Somebody's roaring in a way they ain't roared in a long time. Somebody's coming out in a way they ain't came. Bold. Bold, bolder than I ever been, bolder than I ever thought possible, bolder than they ever seen in my generation, bolder than they'll ever see again. I'm gonna do something you've never seen before. Yeah. Be careful, don't roar like that no more. Somebody's getting ready to roar in this place. Peter's further out than he ever thought he would be. And for him, that is promotion. For him, that is growth. Oh God, there's somebody in this room. And you're already further out than any member of your family has ever been. And for someone, you should be satisfied with where you are. But God keeps giving you vision that there's something else left. There's something more connected to who you are. I know everyone else would be satisfied if they made it this far, but I'm crazy enough to believe that God left me in this world because there is yet more for me to do. And I would give up, but I keep giving vision. Every time I close my eyes, I have another vision of who I can become. Every time God allows me to be connected to somebody, I don't just applaud for them, I see it as a vision of what God can do in my life. You see, I shout when other people get blessed because it's a sign to me that God is still in the blessing business. I didn't have vision until I saw you walk through that door, but now that I've seen you walk through the door, I know that it's possible. You better be careful when you're connected to someone who has vision. When you're connected to someone who has vision, they start thinking crazy things, and you start saying, how did you see that? Oh, I saw it in my sleep. I saw it when I went into prayer. I saw it not because I saw it on television. I didn't see it on social media. God deposited something in my spirit that made me crazy enough to believe that the vision was meant to become a reality. I don't know who you are, but I want you to know you're not crazy. I want you to know that you're seeing things, but you're not crazy. I want you to know that you're seeing things, but you're not alone, that there are some other people in this room who are seeing things. If God's showing you something, I want you to make some noise. If he's showing you something that doesn't make any sense, God, you're showing me something that doesn't make any sense. It challenges everything I've ever known. It makes me believe that I could be going crazy. But God, every time I close my eyes, I still see it. What is it that you want to do with this vision? What am I that I should have access to what you want to see happen? Oh God, you think it's just a vision. I hear God saying it's access. When I gave you vision, I gave you access. I gave you access to what cannot be seen in this time, but what is coming in time. You can't see it right here, but if I gave you a vision, it's because it's to be manifested. Vision, vision, God, vision. When Peter receives this vision, he's in a posture of prayer. He doesn't just receive this vision while he's out being random. There is a posture that we must assume if we want to tap into God's vision. Some people use prayer as their opportunity to let God know his job, roles, and responsibilities. Other people, and sometimes they're the same people depending on the season, use prayer as an opportunity to ask God for his insight. If our prayer is just where we go to let God know what we need, then we miss the opportunity to really be in connection to see what God needs from us. We miss the opportunity to be in connection to receive the insight for what this season is. Because sometimes we're just praying because we want relief from what's happening. But it takes something powerful to say, God, you don't have to relieve me from what's happening if you will give me insight into how to show up into what's happening. See, I must be the only one raising children in this season. I must be the only one trying to break down some chains and some barriers and some strongholds. I must be the only one in this room up against some opposition that is making me want to quit. But when I go into my prayer closet, instead of asking God to back that battle up off of me, I've been learning that my greatest weapon is to say, God, help me to understand what the battle is trying to bring out of me. Help me to understand who I need to be to show up in this marriage. Help me to see who I need to be in order to write this book, in order to build this business, in order to break this generational curse. God, give me insight into why you chose me. Give me insight into why you keep opening these doors. God, give me insight. God, I want to see it the way you see it. I don't want to be so caught up in my hindsight that I can't get insight. I don't want to be so caught up on foresight that I can't get insight. The only thing that matters is now. I know you're worried about yesterday, but yesterday is over. I know you're worried about tomorrow, but tomorrow is not promised. The only thing that matters is right now. So God, who do I need to be in this moment? Who do I need to be right now? I didn't get a chance to be her yesterday, but God, you woke me up this morning. God, what is it it that you see about me that I don't see about myself? God, why would you allow me to be up against this giant unless this giant has my name on it? Show me where my stones are. Show me where my slingshot is. Show me where the power is. Show me where the peace is in the middle of the storm. Show me where the joy is in the middle of this grief. God, if you put me in it, you've got insight into how I can show up. Help me see it, God. Help me believe it, God. Help me to rise up to it. Help me to step into it. God, give me insight. Insight, God. What's in me, God? What's in me for what's happening outside of me? What's in me for what you want to do through me, God? What gifts, what talents, what words, what memories, what experience will release your glory? You know why you need insight? Because insight is the clue that releases glory. You know why you need glory? Because the only way that we're going to go up against what's happening in this world is if we get a few crazy people who are willing to release glory. No, I don't look like a glory carrier after all that I've been through. But if I'm still in this earth, God says there's glory connected to your name. So God, show me where the glory is. Show me where you're moving. Show me how you're speaking in this season. Show me. And God shows Peter something that not even Peter understands. I don't even understand why God would show me something that requires me to venture into forbidden territory. Forbidden territory. As a Jewish man, Peter had certain stipulations on how he eats food, on how animals are treated, and yet God gives him this vision that goes up against the identity that he has held on to. God allows us to not just receive insight, but to understand his timing. Because in this text, at the same time that Peter is receiving a revelation that will require him to move into forbidden territory, there's also a need being risen up for Peter to meet. God, I gotta get this thing right. Because if I mess around and get this thing right, there are going to be some people in this room who start moving into forbidden territory. I mean, the kind of territory that the enemy said your feet could never be on. The kind of territory where you say, people in my family say we don't do things like that. But God has given someone permission to move into some forbidden territory. I'm giving you permission to move in the industry in a different way. I'm giving you permission to change the way things have always been done. I'm giving you permission to raise up a new standard. I don't know who you are, but I hear God saying there are some change agents in this room. And God has given you permission to go into some forbidden territory. I mean, forbidden territory within your own heart, where God says, I don't want you to talk about what you do and do not do any longer. I want you to start laying hold of the liberty and the freedom that says that when I grace you and I anoint you, there is nothing forbidden. I want to rebuke every trick and lie of the enemy that has made you believe that there is a limit to who you can become. I hear God saying there is no limit. I hear God saying all you need is a word, and you can ride into forbidden territory with a word. A word is all that you need in order to kick down every stronghold, in order to break every chain. There is some forbidden territory that's had your family chained up for years. There is some forbidden territory that has kept your family from experiencing breakthrough. There is some forbidden territory that has changed the way you show up in the world. And I hear God saying that if you dare to take one step into that forbidden territory, you're going to do it with me backing you up. That if you take one step away from the identity that everyone else has known, that you will break up the culture of the industry. You will break up the culture of your family. I don't know about you, but I am not here to keep status quo. I am here to go into some forbidden territory. We are having a meeting of soldiers because when you leave this place, you got some forbidden territory to take hold of. You've got some forbidden territory to reclaim for the kingdom of God. I won't give up. I won't back down. If I got a vision for it, it's because I'm anointed for it. And if I'm anointed for it, there is no devil in hell that can come up against what God has placed in my spirit. I just need about one or two of you to start acting like you know what this is, that you know that God is backing you up. And there are communities depending on your yes, that your family is depending on your breakthrough. And your yes means that you got to break out of your forbidden territories, break out of the way that you think, break out of the way that you speak. I know I haven't been speaking like that, but I'm speaking differently because there's a language connected to the territory. I know I haven't been moving like that, but I'm moving differently because there's a different way that they move in forbidden territory. I wouldn't expect the unexpected unless I serve a God who does the unexpected. So if you tell me it's forbidden, but God tells me to walk through it, I'm going to take all of my raggedy, all of my inadequacy, all of my fear, and I'm going to step into it anyway. I'm going to move into it anyway. I'm not ready, but I'm going. I don't have what I need, but I'm going. God tells Peter, rise, Peter, kill and eat. Rise, Peter, kill and eat. He's never had to do this before, but God gives him permission to rise up because it's time to kill and it's time to eat. I don't know if you know this or not, but the kingdom is in a battle right now, and the kingdom is in need of some soldiers who do not mind getting their hands dirty. I'll go into the places that the church folks won't go. I'll talk to the people that the church folks gave up on, because I've been called to rise, kill, and eat. Rise, kill, and eat. How am I going to do it? I'm going to rise up. I'm going to kill every devil. I'm going to kill every thought. I'm going to cast down every imagination. I'm going to break every chain, and then I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to feast off of what God did in my life. I'm going to feast off the transformation. I'm going to get my hands dirty, but I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna go into some forbidden territory, but I'm gonna get it done. This isn't a message for someone who wants to stay cute and accepted. This is a message for people who don't mind being talked about. I don't mind you not understanding who I am. I don't mind you not getting it fully. I gotta get my hands dirty. I'm on a time clock, baby. You may have time, but I don't. You may have money, but I don't. I gotta get it done when God says move. Rise, kill, eat. 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 Build the family. Write the book. Save the marriage. Rise, kill, eat. Rise, kill, eat. Rise. The vision is going to require you to rise up. I got to rise to the expectation. The vision is an expectation. But there's a space between who I am and the expectation. How do I lay hold of the expectation unless I'm willing to rise up? Rise. Hardest thing we can do is rise up again. God just deflated. God, I've already stretched too far. I've already risen beyond. I'm tired of rising. God, gee, you don't understand. Peter has already risen up, killed, and ate. In order for him to be in the position that he's in, he had to overcome his own doubt. He had to overcome his own betrayals. He had to overcome his own mess ups and mistakes. And yet he already rose up. But Jesus still says, I still got more rising for you to do. I still got more killing for you to do. I don't know who you are, but somebody's in the latter years of your life and you think that your killing days are over. And I want you to understand that if you are alive still, that there is still something that you are called to kill. I hear God saying, you think the time is running out because of your age. No, the time on grace is not running out for you. I need you to understand that your faith is running out, not your time. But if you would decide to rise up like you've got abundant faith, if you would dare to rise up like there's an overflow of God's anointing down on the inside of you, that you would stop looking at the clock and start looking for the prey. The prey. Rise. Peter, kill and eat. And Peter doesn't get a chance to even fully understand what the vision means before God makes a demand on who he will have to become. Oh, God. The text tells us over and over again now, while Peter was thinking on the vision, while still processing the vision, Peter wondered within himself what this vision which he had seen meant. He didn't get it when he saw it, but God sends a need to make a demand on what's still in process. So often, we don't move into positions of authority, positions of grace, positions of obedience, because we haven't fully processed what I'm supposed to do when I get there. I'll go when I know, is what we say. But we don't really have time for that because we're in the last days. And if you got to know before you go, God's going to breathe it into somebody else's ear, because God wants someone who will find out on the way. You see, I don't know about you, but I've come to a stage in my life where I realize that the only way that I can say yes is if I'm willing to go without knowing. God, I don't know exactly how you're going to use me when I get there, but I packed my bags and I'm on the way. God, I don't know exactly how you're going to save this marriage, but I'm going to go to the therapy anyway. God, I don't know exactly how you're going to save this child, but I'm going to stick beside him anyway. I'm going to go before I know, because I trust that as I'm stepping, you're figuring it out. As I'm stepping, you're going ahead of me and making my crooked path straight. I'm going because there's a need waiting for me when I get there. I hear God saying you don't see the need now because you haven't moved in the direction of where God is sending you. But when you get to where God is calling you, the need will be so evident. And I want to prophesy this over your life, that there is no one else who can fulfill that need but you. The moment that you step into that place, God is going to reveal why it had to be you who released the grace that leads to transformation. The grace that leads to transformation, that rests on your life, can no longer be stagnant. It's time to move. It's time to grow. It's time to release the ministry. And I don't just mean preaching, I mean the ministry that is down on the inside of you. Anytime we hear the word ministry, we think we got to grab a Bible and a microphone. If that's what God has called you to that's great. But sometimes God will use your gift to help you serve ministry. The gift is just a disguise for the ministry. Yeah, I know how to do hair, but I also know how to pray over you in a way that you've never been interceded over before. Yes, I know a little bit about numbers, but what I know more about is how I can bring a blessing to your finances. God says that thing that I gave you is an authentic anointing that only rests on you.